Hello and welcome back for another Tome Tips video for Dead by Daylight with me, Bales Winky Face. Today we're going to be reviewing Tome 1 Awakening, page 3. If you enjoy this content, please be sure to like and subscribe. You can also catch my live streams over at twitch.tv/BalesWinkyFace. Let's get into it. Okay, so from the main menu, you will want to navigate to the archives, and then go to the compendium if you are not already on that tab. Today, like I mentioned, we're going to be reviewing Tome 1 Awakening, page 3, so navigate to the red book here. If you have already reached the epilogue for page 3 or level 3, make sure that you scroll back over to page 3. For this one, there is one starting point for the prologue and one ending point for the epilogue. As always, you can complete the page and reach the epilogue by playing as either only killer or survivor, but we will be reviewing all of the challenges so that you can fill the page like this. All right, let's start. Property damage. Killer challenge. Damage a generator or destroy a dropped pallet 30 times. Now, as killer, you will be doing this during your regular gameplay. Oftentimes, destroying a generator is good in order to start regression, such as with the perks Pop Goes the Weasel, which is a teachable from the Clown, or Call a Brine, which is a teachable from the Onryo. And pallets will need to be destroyed oftentimes in order to make a loop less safe while chasing a survivor. It's unlikely that you will complete this challenge in a single trial, but you won't need to change your gameplay too much in order to complete this one. Buried Underground Killer Challenge. Hook 5 survivors in the basement. This is not a master challenge, so it is not a challenge that needs to be completed within one trial. And it also can be hooks in the basement on the same survivor multiple times. Some of the smaller maps, it will be easier for you to reach the basement, such as Dead Dog Saloon, or some of the Coldwind Farm maps that has the basement centrally located. When working on this challenge, I just recommend that if you want to complete it as quickly as possible, bringing the perk Agitation, which is a teachable from the Trapper, which allows you to walk faster while carrying a downed survivor, or the common perk Iron Grasp, which makes their struggle time last longer while carrying a survivor. You can even use these two perks in combination to almost guarantee you making it to the basement from pretty much anywhere on the map. You, Killer Master Challenge. Hook the Obsession 2 times. Complete this challenge in a single trial. Now, in order to hook the Obsession twice, you must actually hook them. Cages from Pyramid Head do not count. For every trial, you will become obsessed with one survivor, and that will be denoted with the little markings around the survivor's portrait in the bottom left-hand side. These markings will wiggle whenever you're in active chase with the survivor. Now, there are a few killer perks that you can use to change your obsession if you're worried about not being able to hook the same person twice. Some of these are Nemesis, which is a teachable from the Oni. This changes your obsession whenever you are stunned or blinded by a survivor. So the survivor who stuns or blinds you becomes your obsession. There is also Furtive Chase. So whenever you hook the obsession, the survivor who unhooks them then becomes your obsession. Those are the main two obsession changing perks for this one. No one escapes the endgame. Killer Master Challenge. Sacrifice 2 survivors during the endgame collapse while using the perk Hex No One Escapes Death. Complete this challenge in a single trial. Hex No One Escapes Death is more commonly known as NOED. This is a widely controversial perk among the Dead by Daylight community, and what it does is that when the last generator is completed, one dull totem then becomes a hex totem, and this hex is applied. You gain a speed boost as the killer, and all survivors become exposed, which means that you are able to down any of the survivors with a basic M1 attack regardless of their health state. In order to do this challenge, you must reach the endgame collapse, which is not triggered when the final generator is completed, but it is triggered when either the hatch is closed or when the exit gate is open, or one of the exit gates are opened. Since the hatch no longer appears prior to there being one survivor left in the trial, the only way to complete this trial is after one of the 2 exit gates have been opened. Then the in-game collapse timer begins. You must sacrifice 2 survivors during that time. The in-game collapse timer slows down whenever a survivor is downed on the ground, and you could use the perk Blood Warden in conjunction with NOED in order to hopefully get a couple of kills during the endgame collapse. Blood Warden blocks the end of the exit gate from a survivor escaping when a different survivor is hooked during the endgame collapse. This pretty much traps the survivors into the map with you, and you are more likely to be able to get multiple kills during the in-game collapse with the combination of these 2 perks. Liberator, Survivor Challenge. Unhook 10 survivors. Must unhook them safely. This is the first Survivor Challenge. I have mentioned this perk multiple times in other videos, but the #1 way to guarantee that an unhook is safe is by using the teachable perk Borrowed Time from Bill. This gives the survivor the endurance status effect for 12 seconds at tier 3 after they are unhooked. This ensures that the survivor will be unhooked safely even if the killer tries to, quote, tunnel them off hook. If you do not have that teachable unlocked on all of your survivors, or if you just don't have access to that one, you could also use the common perk Kindred, which shows you the aura of all other survivors when someone is hooked, as well as the killer's aura whenever they're close to the hook. You can use this information to know when the killer is not right next to the hook, and you are more likely to get a safe unhook. Hungry Jaws, Killer Master Challenge. Catch a survivor in a bear trap 5 times as the trapper. Complete this challenge in a single trial. The trapper's main power is to catch survivors in bear traps, and the way he does this is by placing traps around the map in high traffic areas or places where survivors are more likely to be caught off guard or step in traps. You can use this at the killer shack, which most maps have, and is often a place where survivors will loop killers. You can also place it around by windows or other vaults that are around like the main building or highly used loop areas like an L&T wall. But the caveat is you do need to trap survivors 5 times within one trial, which can be a little bit tricky. You may want to bring some add-ons that increases the amount of bear traps that you can hold during the trial, or other trapper add-ons which will help you to get this completed better. Monstrous Mayhem, Killer Master Challenge. Hook a survivor in the basement while another survivor is on a basement hook 1 time while using the perk Monstrous Shine. Complete this challenge in a single trial. Monstrous Shine is a common perk on the killer's side that can show up in the blood webs of all killers. This perk decreases the chance of a survivor escaping off hook during first phase, and it lessens the timer that they are on the hook during the struggle phase. Other than that, Monstrous Shine doesn't have a whole lot of usage, and in order to get yourself to the basement with the survivor, you may want to pair it with the perks Agitation and or Iron Grasp. And you want to try to keep survivors near the basement in order to have at least 2 of them hooked in there. There are killers that have certain powers that allow you to be able to instant down near the hooks, or be able to travel back to the basement quickly, such as Hag or Demogorgon. And in that way you can kind of set traps and prepare to get this challenge completed. Got you. Killer challenge. Interrupt and grab 3 survivors. This is a cumulative one, so it does not need to happen all in one trial. And you can grab survivors who are unhooking other survivors, who are working on generators, who are cleansing totems, who are opening chests. Pretty much you're interrupting an action. Grabbing a survivor out of a locker does not count as an interruption and grab, just for a little bit of information. Last Minute Hero. Survivor Master Challenge. Unhook 1 survivor after the in-game collapse has begun. You must unhook them safely. Complete this challenge in a single trial. So like I mentioned before, the in-game collapse can only occur once the hatch has been closed or one of the exit gates have been opened. In this case, again, an exit gate will have to be opened in order to complete this challenge because there has to be at least 2 survivors still in the trial. And one of the survivors, or the survivor that you're trying to safely unhook, must not already be on death hook or have been hooked twice prior to the in-game collapse in order for you to rescue them. And again, you must unhook them safely. So I would recommend bringing either Borrowed Time or Kindred or some other perk that will help you get that safe unhook status. Hope is all we have. Survivor Master Challenge. Escape 1 trial through the exit gate while using the perk Hope. Complete this challenge in a single trial. Hope is a common perk available on all Survivor Blood Webs, and this perk at Tier 3 grants you a 7% haste status effect for 120 seconds after the last generator has been completed. So this makes you a little bit faster, basically. You do need to escape through the exit gate and not through the hatch in order to achieve this. However, if you are the last remaining survivor and the hatch gets closed by the killer, Hope does get triggered, and you may still have an opportunity to escape through the exit gate if you are able to time it correctly and you get a little bit lucky with where the exit gates are placed. Iridescent Age Challenge. This challenge can be completed by either playing as survivor or killer, or even a combination of both. Earn 15 emblems of iridescent quality. So the iridescent quality emblems are most easily obtained whenever you are in the higher grades or more recent grades after grade reset on the 13th of each month. You can get a maximum of 4 emblems each trial, so you will take several trials in order to complete this. And while you are in the ash levels on either survivor or killer, this will be easier to obtain. Obsessive Killer Challenge. Kill the obsession 4 times by any means. Now you can only be obsessed with 1 survivor at a time. However, there are perks that can change the obsession. On the killer side, such as Nemesis, which is a teachable from the Oni, or the perk Furtive Chase, which is a teachable from the Ghostface, which changes your obsession whenever the obsessed survivor is unhooked. On the survivor side, there are a few perks that also change who the obsession is, such as For the People and Decisive Strike. However, this is not a master challenge, so you do not need to complete it in 1 trial. And so if it takes you a couple times and you are only able to kill 1 obsession per trial or not, or maybe you struggle to get that, it's okay. Just try to pay attention to who your obsession is on the HUD in the bottom left-hand corner, because it'll be marked by the little symbols around one of the survivors' portraits. Unnerving Encounter. Killer Master Challenge. Prevent any exit gates from being opened while using the perk Unnerving Presence. Do this 1 time. Complete this challenge in a single trial. Unnerving Presence is a teachable from the Trapper, and this perk will make skill checks significantly smaller whenever a survivor is within your terror radius. However, skill checks are not are not procced while working on an exit gate, it does kind of passively slow down the game, making survivors more likely to miss skill checks, either while working on generators or healing. A good perk to pair with Unnerving Presence for this challenge is a teachable from the Trickster called No Way Out. For each survivor that you hook, you gain stacks on No Way Out, and whenever the exit gates are powered, they will be blocked from opening for a certain amount of time once one of the survivors tries to start opening them. You can, if you're able to kill off 3 of the survivors before the generators are completed, you could let the last survivor escape through the hatch, and you will still be able to complete this challenge. And honestly, I kind of recommend that if you're in that situation, because if you close the hatch and then the survivor opens one of the gates, even if they don't escape, you will fail this challenge. Blindsided. Survivor challenge. Blind the killer 4 times. Now, one of the easiest ways to blind a killer is by use of a flashlight, and flashlight blinds are easily accomplished while the killer is locked into an animation, such as picking up a down survivor off of the ground or breaking a pallet. You can also get blinds from firecrackers as well as flashbangs, which is a item that is crafted from the perk Flashbang from Leon, or Blast Mine, which is a teachable from Jill when you are able to trap a generator, which will then blind and stun the killer. If the killer is running the perk Lightborn, you will not get the points or the progress for blinding the killer because that makes them immune to the blinding status effect. Life Giver. Survivor challenge. Heal a total of 10 health states of any survivor. Healing yourself will count towards progress on this challenge. However, you might want to be a little bit altruistic and heal other survivors, and one of the best ways to do that is bringing the common perk Will Make It, which increases your healing speed whenever unhooking another survivor. You can also bring the perk Empathy, which is a teachable from Claudette, which will highlight the auras of any injured survivors so you can find other survivors to heal. And you can use the medkit on yourself or on others to speed up your healing. All Better. Survivor Master Challenge. Completely heal 3 health states of any survivor. Complete this challenge in a single trial. Now, this is similar to the challenge I just went over, that you'll be able to heal both yourself and others. I would recommend bringing a pretty strong medkit when attempting this challenge, as well as maybe some perks that speed up healing, such as Will Make It, which is the common perk. There's also Botany Knowledge, which is another teachable from Claudette, which speeds up your healing speed. And you do have to completely heal 3 health states. It does not necessarily need to be all on one person or all in one go, but just try to keep an eye out and heal as many people as possible. You could also bring the teachable from Zarina called For the People, which allows you to instantly heal another survivor while taking away one of your own health states and putting you in the Brocus status effect. But that one does come with the downside of you being forced to be injured for several seconds afterwards, and unless you're bringing a med kit or some other way to heal yourself up after, that might not be the best. Although I did end up using For the People to complete this challenge myself. Decisive Light. Survivor Master Challenge. Blind the killer while they are carrying a survivor 1 time. Complete this challenge in a single trial. Like I said before, one of the times that it is easiest to blind a killer is whenever they are locked in an animation, such as picking up a down survivor off the ground. However, you do want to be kind of sneaky about this, as many killers are aware of this possibility, and you may not always be able to have a good angle. There's also, so you want to try to see when a killer is facing into the open and angle yourself correctly. You also don't want to blind them too early because you may get the blind, but it won't count as while they're carrying a survivor. You'll know that it happens because if you successfully blind a killer while they are carrying a survivor, the survivor who's being carried will break free from the grasp. Instead of just a flashlight, you could also use a firecracker or flashbang, and the timing for those are a little bit different. You do need to throw that quicker than whenever you would start a flashlight save, and you do need to be pretty much right underneath the killer as they are picking up the other survivor. This one took me a couple tries, and I got super unlucky where 2 killers in a row were running Lightborn. But you'll get it eventually, and if you're able to play with friends, they'll be more understanding and will hopefully be able to communicate with you whenever they're close to being downed by the killer. Locked and Found Survivor Challenge. Fully deplete 3 keys. Now, keys used to be pretty powerful whenever the hatch would spawn prior to the last generator being completed. Now they're not as common. There are 3 different levels of keys: green, purple, and pink. Green keys cannot be used without other attachments showing them things, but now keys are mostly used for their aura reading abilities. There are attachments that will show you where the killer is, where other survivors are, where different things around the map are, and you can use this in conjunction with the perk Built to Last, which will restore charges of the key within 1 trial, so you could potentially even complete this within 1 trial. Escape Artist Survivor Challenge. Escape 5 trials. Pretty straightforward. Your goal as survivor is to try and escape the trials, and this could be through the hatch or through the exit gate. One of the best perks that I would recommend to run while doing this challenge is the perk Adrenaline, which is a teachable from Meg. This restores 1 health state and gives you a speed boost whenever the last generator is completed, and that could give you the edge that you need in order to escape the trial. Chilling Escape Survivor Master Challenge. Escape a trial without being hooked by the killer while using the perk Spine Chill. Spine Chill is a common perk, and it lights up in the bottom right-hand corner of your HUD whenever the killer is looking in your direction. It also increases your healing and generator repair speed and increases the chance of triggering skill checks whenever the killer is looking at you. Spine Chill, like I said, is a common perk, so you can find it in the blood webs of any of your survivors, and you want to escape without being hooked by the killer while using the perk. Now, if you are going against the killer Pyramid Head, the cages do not count as hooks for a challenge like this. So if you get caged once or twice even, that won't automatically disqualify this challenge, but that's a pretty niche thing to happen, but just a little of a tip there. And that brings us to the epilogue. As you can see, there are actually 4 different challenges that would bring you to the epilogue if you complete it. So have fun completing challenges, and that brings us to the end of this one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like or comment. You can catch my live streams over at twitch.tv/BalesWinkyface, and I hope to see you at the next one. Bye!